Well, hello. My name is Zachariah Scott, and this is my final project for my English 101 class. So, for my final project today, I'm giving you guys, a guide, a how-to video, what if? I don't know. Not really a what if, but this is how to build a sports podcast. I wish I had the tools to do all the editing and stuff like that. I really don't. I'm just gonna talk y'all through it. So with that being said, this is how to build a sports podcast, man. If you're starting a sports podcast, it's very exciting. You want to share your love for sports and your passion for it. You want to share it with the world. You want to share it with a broader audience. You're tired of talking to all your local people, all your friends, all your family, stuff like that. By the way, you're gonna need all your friends and family. Definitely, you're gonna start a sports podcast, but you wanna step your horizon up. You seeing all these social media guys on TikToks, on YouTubes, on all this other stuff, and you like, I could do 20 times better than them about this. So it's time for you to step out in the world, and here's how. All right, step 1: find your niche. Find your niche, and what I mean by find your niche, find your topic, find your horizon. What is your channel, or what is your podcast? If you by channel, I mean YouTube channel, because we're gonna get into that. You should definitely post on YouTube. But let's put it like this. Let's just say, what is your sports podcast going to be about? What are you gonna be about? A specific team? Are you gonna be about a specific sport? Or are you by a certain team or I can't pronounce it right now. Gosh, but by a certain team for my own podcast. I like to mainly talk about the New Orleans teams. Either being the New Orleans Pelicans or the New Orleans Saints, or I talk about the Miami Heat. So you're gonna get that from my personal podcast, right? And I built that with my audience. So for you, what is out of your favorite team or your favorite player, or at least your favorite sport that you like to talk about? You want to talk about nothing but NBA. Oh wait, no, you gotta talk about or you just want to talk nothing about basketball. So if you want to talk nothing about just basketball, now you gotta think about, okay, NBA, WNBA, college, maybe a little European scene. You haven't seen much of the European scene in the US, so maybe you want to step out and broadcast and talk about the European scene, but you're an American content creator, so you might be in a small vacuum, but you'll step out big once you get your audience, right? But yeah, just focus on a particular sport, a certain sport, or a certain team, whichever one you think is possible, right? Your next step is gonna be, if you want to decide to be a in-depth analyst or statistics, news covering, interviews, stuff like that. Trying to get interviews with players or members of a team or coaches or whatnot and stuff like that. Are you gonna be that type of podcast? Or are you going to be fan discussion type of podcast, type of style of podcast, where you're just gonna be answering fan questions. You're gonna be answering some of your own questions. Like you're gonna be talking about what do you see as far as what's going on with the game, and then you and your fans and your audience, y'all start discussing it and stuff like that. Taking a more fan approach of it. Now, I will say, starting off, if you don't certainly have access to certain teams or certain players or coaches and stuff like that, this might be your avenue of what you want to take. You're going to be more diving into fan discussions, bringing in your friends, family, or whoever you can, and y'all having fan discussions about certain teams and certain certain players and stuff like that. You might want to start off with this, but eventually, as you start getting access, and maybe you start getting access to players and coaches and stuff like that, you might want to dive into the in-depth analysts or and stuff like that you see now that you have more access to it. Now, after you figure out which type of style that you want to be, either in-depth analyst, if you started off with and you have that access to all the players and stuff like that, you go with that. Or do you want to be more of a fan discussion, you and your audience talking about your audience, your friends, or whoever you are bringing on the sports podcast, y'all talking about plays that y'all seen and y'all analyzing the game more, and you're opening up to fans and stuff like that. Pick which type of target audience that you want to be a part of. And speaking of, what type of target audience are you going for, right? Do you want to go for the older generations, more of your older 70s, 80s, 90s, 90s crowd, that the older generation that's like currently that's involved in media and stuff like that? You trying to target them? Are you trying to get the older generation? Or are you trying to get the new younger generation that's coming up and that's really listening to podcasts nowadays and really involved in social media and they're always diving in social media and commenting and stuff like that? So who's gonna be your target audience? Are you going for the older crowd or are you going for the younger crowd? Older crowd, younger crowd. You gotta decide on what type of target audience you coming with, and seeing how like anybody can be a content creator nowadays. It might not be hard. It might be easier to network that way as well. Next, you're gonna plan out your content. Discuss what's gonna be my first 10 episodes. So even in that first 10, it's probably gonna be bad because you're figuring out how is the podcast gonna be and who you bringing on and stuff like that. So don't expect that first 10 to go. You're gonna go through some struggles. You're gonna go through your nicks and grannies and stuff like that. You're gonna have to figure it out as you go along and stuff. But that's just your first 10. I even seen Mr. Beast say that his first 100 YouTube videos weren't great, and he finds it very cringy and it's hard to watch. But he just kept going and kept going and kept going, and we all see Mr. Beast is the biggest YouTuber alive. So it's constantly figuring out how to get better with every episode. So don't get discouraged, even if your first episode you have 1 or 2 views and stuff like that, or listens and stuff. Don't get discouraged. Keep going, get better as you go along, and plan out your contract, plan out your content, have some episode, determine the form of episodes that you want. Either is it gonna be a solo episode? Is it just gonna be you? Are you gonna be co-hosting with somebody else? Are you gonna bring in some guest interviews and stuff? Have a content calendar. Plan out when you're gonna drop those episodes, or when you're gonna make those episodes, and when you're gonna drop those episodes as well, right? So have a content calendar, and also do some research. Stay up to date with the latest sports news and trends. Prepare to and preparation, man. Preparation is going to be your biggest thing when it comes down to it. Always plan it out. Don't be afraid to the sports world is always tricky, so don't be afraid to do a 180. You might have this one episode planned, and then something happens. Like, look what just happened. Steph Curry just got injured, so now you might do a whole new episode about how now the playoff series just changed between the Golden State Warriors and the Memphis Grizzlies because Stephen Curry just got injured. So you're planning for one thing, now something happened in the sports world, now you got planned for something else. Don't be afraid to always switch it up. You don't have to stay on top of that of that calendar. You can always save that video for later and add it at a different time. Is what I'm trying to basically get down to saying. So when it comes down to it, you gotta have the right equipment. And to start off with, I would say the right equipment is just the simple things. It's honestly just the simple things. Now, you do have to invest in good quality for clear audio and clear video, right? So, there's a lot of free stuff that's out there. There's Streamlabs. There's Streamlabs that's out there. Streamlabs has a podcast section of it. You could download all that. Now you will have to purchase. That's not free, but it does work well, and I do like Streamlabs when it comes down to it. As far as like what you're gonna edit with, and bringing in some great things for Streamlabs. Now, a free software that you could have is Spotify, Creators by Spotify, or Spotify Creators. It was originally called Anchor, then it got changed to Spotify Podcasters. Now it's Spotify Creators. Basically Spotify bought Anchor, and now Spotify changed it to Spotify Creators because they've seen how podcasts are trending more and more and more. But Spotify by Creators by Spotify is absolutely free. Adobe is something that you would have to purchase for, but it's definitely worth it when it comes down to recording and editing. And when it comes down to hosting, like I said, Podbean or Spotify by Creators by Spotify. That's two good ones. Some headphones. I was talking about software and stuff for your recording and editing. Now I'm gonna get into some headphones. Some headphones that I personally like to use when I'm listening back and editing and stuff like that. I like to use my basic little Skullcandies, man. My wireless Skullcandies. I connect it to my computer, my laptop and stuff. Oh, that's also what I forgot to mention. You need a computer or a laptop. Now you could, if you have the Spotify Creator app, you could do it from your phone. I wouldn't recommend it. You might not get the best quality from it, so I recommend doing it from a laptop or a PC, whichever one. Find a decent one. It all works. It's all free. But back to headphones. As far as headphones, I like my Skullcandies. I can listen to everything. I can block out all the internal noise and stuff like that. I also have these wireless, I know it's wired because I'm charging, but these wireless Steam Series headphones. I like using these as well when it comes down to listening and editing and stuff like that. So you need some headphones so that way you can listen to the audio in the background and edit out a few things and make some stuff clear and stuff like that. So you need quality headphones to use for your recording, or at least listen back to your recording. I already went over recording software and hosting platform. When it comes down to it, recording environment, you just need a quiet space. That's why I'm using this quiet space right now. I'm using our gaming room right now. That's gonna turn into the twins room eventually, but right now it's the gaming room and it's just my quiet space. So that's what I like to use. When it comes down to editing, just know editing your podcast, you're gonna try and remove as much space or dead air or just like a lot of ums and hums and just like, you know what I'm saying, try and remove a lot of stuff that you don't want in, or you feel like could be edited out, and include some clips and stuff, some funny stuff like that. add some intro music and outro music, or add some stuff that says subscribe down at the below, add all that jazzy stuff like that. All that is free, as especially when you use all that is free. You could go on Google Images, go get that, edit some of that stuff. You could go on Streamlabs as well. You could go on Streamlabs and you could get some of that stuff for free. Canva has it for free. There's a lot of free things, free editing things where you could add in a little ticker or a little subscribe down at the bottom and stuff like that. So you got all that. What else? Next, think of a podcast name. Your podcast name is going to be near to your heart. Throw some ideas out. Go check for copyright infringement. Definitely go check for copyright infringement. If you see somebody has that podcast, you cannot use that podcast name. They hold those rights to it. So make sure you try and come up, be creative, and come up with your own podcast name. It's gonna stick with you. Some cover art. This is another place where you could go into Canva and you could try and use a cover art, or you could go into one of those AIs. ChatGPT is getting better and better when it comes down to making AI pictures and stuff. Use one of those AI pictures and you could have a cover art or a logo for your like I said, you could use Canva, you could use AIs, or you could just hire a graphics designer and they could throw together something for you. If you would like to, like I suggested earlier, intro, outro music to set the tone for your podcast. Make sure you and when it comes down to it, make sure you have fun, man. Make sure you have fun. Launch and promote your podcast. Distribute your podcast. Make sure your podcast launches on YouTube and all the other major platforms like YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio. And by doing all that, you could do that by using the Spotify creator. If you upload to Spotify creator, it uploads to every single one of those things. iHeartRadio, Google. The only thing it doesn't upload is to YouTube. You have to create your own individual YouTube channel, and then you go upload your podcast on there. Use your social media. You want to step out and be a content creator or be a podcast. Don't be afraid to post your content. Your podcast, some podcast clips, some of your thoughts on Spotify, on social media. Use Twitter, X, which one you like to call it, Instagram, Facebook, to promote your episodes. Engage with your audience on your social medias. Take polls, take discussions, take Q&A questions that you could later add on down the line. Use social media for networking, man. Collaborate with other podcasts. What other sports podcasters or influencers to reach out to a broader audience. Engage with your audience. Listener feedback is always encouraged. Encourage listeners to leave reviews and ratings and their thoughts on the comments and on your podcast and stuff like that, and on your social media. Tell them always leave comments. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, stuff like that. Tell them always leave comments, and then eventually down the line, start adding in some live interactions. You could go on YouTube and do a podcast live and start including your fans when you have a broader audience and stuff like that. Start thinking of once you get a little bigger, once you get a nice audience, start including some live interactions, and then it's gonna bring you on to sponsorships. Once you have a solid listening base, reach out to brands for sponsorship opportunities. Then Patreon offers exclusive content or early access to episodes through Patreon for dedicated fans. One of the last things I'm gonna say that will be helpful for you guys when it comes down to making us a sports podcast or just a podcast in general, and you can put it on YouTube or anything. Consistency is key. Consistency is key. A regular schedule. Stick to a consistent release schedule, either weekly or bi-weekly, to keep your audience engaged. Quantity over quality. Focus on producing high quality content rather than rushing release episodes. Starting a sports podcast takes time. It takes time, it takes dedication, and a clear path. You could build a successful show for your sports fans. So, with that being said, this is your guide to building a sports podcast. I hope whoever listens to this, I hope I don't know how to end this. My bad. So whoever is listening to this video, man, I hope you're inspired. I hope you go out there and you start your own podcast. It could be sports, it could be music, it could be anything. I hope you go out there and use my guide to start your own podcast. Like, I know I focus this on sports, but it could be just a broad thing of starting your own podcast, and you could take all the tips that I said and you could bring it all together and use it for your own podcast. As a reminder, I said focus on your niche first, then make sure you focus on what's going to be your target audience. Who am I going to focus my target audience on for? Are you going for the older crowd, or are you going for the younger crowd that's on social media? Plan out your content, and don't be afraid to change your content around, because stuff happens, trends happen, things pop off, so you might need to be able to change up your content every day. I'll always try and keep yourself in the loop, but also keep a content schedule going. Be reminded of, okay, this is the time I'm going to record, and this is when I'm going to release. Do some research on some content, some sports trends. Make sure you always have the right equipment. Make sure you invest in headphones. Make sure you invest in microphones. So that way, invest in the microphones for clear audio. Some good microphones that I know and I have. I personally have the HyperX Solarcast, but I've also seen the HyperX Quadcast, some Blue Yetis, and then some Rokon pod microphones that's also out there. So, however, whatever your budget is, go for it. So when it comes down to recording software and hosting platforms, a good one I like to use is Creator by Spotify and Streamlabs. Those are two good for me. Good ones. They're free. Adult City is free. I don't know how to pronounce it. Audi is another. It's gonna be costly. It's a yearly subscription, but it's also a good one when it comes down to recording software. But then hosting software, I found a good one to be Buzzsport, Podbean, and Creator by Spotify. Those are some good ones. When it comes down to editing, just make sure you edit out all of the stuff that you don't want in there, all of the ums and the hums and the dead airspace and stuff like that. You will make mistakes. Don't be afraid to edit, and edit in some clips and some music and stuff like that. Come up with a podcast name. Make sure your podcast, you have the copyright for that podcast. Cover art. There's a lot of free websites to use it, as far as AI and stuff like that. Make sure you have a good cover art, a good logo. Include some intro music or outro music if you would like. Make sure you distribute your podcast to all the major platforms. Use social media, drop some clips on it, promote your podcast, and get engaged with your audience. Network. It's okay to network. As 2025 is okay to talk to other people, talk to other influencers, and talk to a different broader audience. Listener feedback is always great. Your audience is gonna tell you if the episode was good or not. So listener feedback is always great. Now, good feedback, you know the difference between good feedback and bad feedback. There's gonna be some people out there that's just hateful. So you should know the difference between good feedback and bad feedback. And then eventually, when you do have that broader audience, make sure you include the live interaction. You could go on YouTube and live stream, and or TikTok and live stream, or IG, Instagram and live stream. There's a lot of live stream places that you could do, and live stream with your audience. Lastly, getting towards the end of my recap, there's a lot of sponsorships out there. Make sure you reach out to brands, and Patreon is a one-stop shop for your fans to drop exclusive to get exclusive content from you, and make sure you always stay consistent. Consistency is key. Thank y'all for checking out this video. Hopefully I get an A. And with that being said, peace, y'all. Appreciate y'all checking out this video and giving me my feedback.